Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April the 17th, and this is Dina, and I'm here for an update. I'm so excited to start off this video with an update and just a little tiny touch of haul. So we'll get started. This is what I've been working on, Ashley's Roses. And last time I was working on it, I had started up here and come across and done at least the first dip of those pink roses, the first little hanging group of roses. And I was gonna start on or finish up this little tail end of those and do the second loop of roses. So that's what I began working on. I've been working on this for about 2.5 days, and I've gotten some pretty good progress on it. I'm pretty happy about it. This is my progress. Here's Ashley's Roses. So I'll get it a little bit closer so you can see her. But I finished the upper portion of this swag of roses, for lack of a better way to describe it. It looks like a swag curtain to me. And then I went ahead and did completely that second swag of roses. And I feel like, let's leave, oh, there we go, a little bit of glare off of it. I got a pretty good start on that third and final swag as well. Came down and got the flower that she's looking at or smelling of as she's reaching up to pick more. And I got a pretty good distance in there, but I'm ready to put it away for today because I'm going to have some guests coming in the morning to stitch with me, and I want to get my stitching room situated for 2 guests. I'm going to move some lighting around and make sure they have plenty of room for their legs under the table. So I'm going to stop on Ashley's Roses right here. I will go ahead and tell you that for my next goal, I think to just finish this last bit of the flowers across here would be a huge goal. And if I could, and I thought it might take me 2 rotations to get all of that top portion finished. So that's what I'll work on the next time that I pick her up. But I'm loving these colors. These are very interesting color combinations. And then I can move down after that and start working on this beautiful dress. So Ashley's Roses is done for this month, and I'll hopefully get to pull her out again next month. So on to my little small bit of haul. I have seen Vonna talking about her roller frames for a long time, and I am trying to figure out a way to work on my Sleeping Beauty easily more often. So I thought, well, if I put it on a frame and put it on my floor stand, then anytime I have a few minutes, I can just sit down and stitch. I don't have to pull it out and set it up on my Q-snaps and that sort of thing. So I got my first roller frames. They're still in the bags because they came yesterday, and I haven't even had a chance to, sorry, that was upside down. I haven't even had a chance to take them out yet to set them up, but I'm going to try to get Sleeping Beauty on these tonight, see how it works on my floor stand, and get my stitching spot set up for my guests tomorrow, hopefully with this already ready to go. So I'm going to have a great day in tomorrow's stitching. I hope you do. Anyway, that's my update for today. It is a beautiful day here. Thank you for all of your comments about the tulips. I'm glad you liked them. They're beautiful, and I enjoy seeing them as I drive by in my local community. So I'll be watching for another neat thing in the community that I can share with you. I had an idea yesterday as I drove by one. So I think I might be showing you some artwork next clip or two down the road here. So have a great stitching time, and I'll talk to you again soon in just a day or two. Bye for now. Bye. Hello again. This is Dina, and today is Saturday, April 21st, and I am here with a brief update for you on a long-term whip. This is Sleeping Beauty. I think you have seen this many times, but this is the Mirabilia version of Sleeping Beauty. There are several designers who have, designed Sleeping Beauties. But this is a piece, as you will recall from my previous video, that I am working on in double rotations, or working on at least twice a month, to try to get it closer to a finish, because this was one of my year of whips in 2017 that I carried over. So I'm really wanting to get this one done, not because I'm tired of it, because I'm not, or not because I don't like it, because I love stitching it, but because I really want to get it on my wall. I want to be able to look at it every day. It's beautiful. So my progress last time was to stitch across the piece until I got just a little past the dark folds and into the light green of that sweeping coverlet that is on the bed with her. And so my goal this time, on this second time of the month, was to get more of that green done, which I am tickled to say that I did. So I'll show you where I've gotten to now. This is the Sleeping Beauty. And I will, in order to show you this the best, I think, I'm going to fold it up a little bit. So if you'll bear with me for a moment and let me do that, it'll be easier to show you the progress that I've made. So on this time, I started working on this green drape across her bed. This green drape here. I had just gotten past these dark folds and gotten a little of this green done, just to about right over here, and wanted to get started. So I have worked cross country, and I've worked, these present themselves beautifully in these little swags. And so what I was doing was kind of following the progress down each one based on the color that I was using, because it has all these different colors of green in there. And I hope you can see all those swirls. Those swirls are blanks. There's blank spaces that will have beads in them. And so you really have to count carefully, because those swirls of beads are going to really highlight it if you've made an error. A lot of times you can fudge when you've got, a fold or color, and one stitch off may not be a big deal. But in this case, I think it would really show up. So I've tried to be very, very careful. I think you can see those swirls in there. And I had started stitching, I would take one color and stitch as far across and try to get that whole swag of color done. And I also found that a lot of the green up in here was not done. I had stopped with these dark colors. So I had to go up into this corner quite a bit and get that stitch down to even be across this way. So done a lot of work in here. It may not look like it, but I did several days in there. And I'm very pleased with how it's turning out. I can see the swirls forming all the way down to about right here. And now I've got another couple of swags to go here. And believe it or not, there's a whole nother section down here that'll come along. But I'm really making progress, and I was a little hesitant about this section because of all those swirls, It's sort of like doing Mirabilia skin 1/1. You know it's going to be beautiful, but you dread doing it. So you do little pieces of it at a time. So doing the two rotations a month, I think are going to really help me get through this green and pale green. And there's a blended thread in there. Um, and I'll get all the way to it. Once I get over here to this side, I think once I actually get all this done all the way across, I'm probably going to go ahead and go down to the bottom, because that way I'll have my whole size, and I'll see how it's going to lay on the fabric as far as how much room I'm going to have left. And it'll be easier to do that side of the pattern than it will be the other. And so that'll give me an idea just of, how big a piece it's going to be. I think that would be fun to see about now. But that may be, what happens in the 2 times that I work on it in May. So I'll be putting it away for now and going to another piece. I have been watching with great interest what you guys are going to be doing for Maynia. And I know that mine is going to be relatively boring this year for you guys, because I'm just working on all of my whips. I'll have 9 by then, because I'll have a new start. And I'm going to work on each of them for 2 days so that I can make a little progress on everything. So just so you know, my goal this year is to try to finish as many of my current whips as possible. I'm ready for a whole new batch of things to work on, and I really want to get this piece here finished by the end of the year, because I've been working on it for 2 years. It's now my oldest whip, but that's mainly because, I'm not working on it full time. But I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. It's beautiful on this Joblin. It's a 28 count, which is one reason it looks larger. And it is in the Stormy Skies colorway. I just think it's beautiful, and I hope you're enjoying watching it develop with me. So I hope each of you have a wonderful rest of your weekend of stitching. I'm going to go pick something new to start working on today, and I'm looking forward to that. And I will check in with you again as soon as possible. So happy stitching, everyone. Bye. Hello, everyone. This is Dina, and it is Wednesday, April 25th. And I have 2 things I want to share with you today. The first is an update on my Quaker Christmas 2. And Kate, this is for you. Thanks for mentioning me on your video and referencing the fact that I was working on this. I saw the one you're doing on your black fabric. It looks beautiful. And this is where I'm at. So I still have it on my new roller frame. I actually bought this roller frame, I thought, to put Sleeping Beauty on. And without realizing it, I had used this piece of fabric to measure how big I needed. And that's what I ordered. And when I got my roller frame in, my Sleeping Beauty fabric is bigger. So I thought, well, this is what I used to measure. This is the one that's going on it. And I already have it on there, so that's pretty cool. I'll tell you what I've done new. The easiest thing is to tell you how many I've done. I've done 5 new motifs. Here, here, I think this one. Anyway, walking on across here, I did all 6 of these words, plus I did this little lecture in there. And then I came over here and I picked up both of these little sections as well. So now the next time I'll be ready to go on over to the end again. And then I've got just a little bit underneath here, and if I can get all of that done on my next rotation, I will have 2 more pages finished. So very happy with how this is going. I feel like it's really working well. Been using it on my floor stand so I could stitch 2-handed, and that did help quite a bit. I did have to frog, had to frog twice on the Let There Be Peace on Earth. I don't know why I had such a hard time with that. But on one of them, I had gotten the A right here, one space over too far, and it was gonna, I even counted it to see if I could leave it, but it was gonna mess up over here, so I had to frog it out. I had gotten all the way to the O, had to frog all that out and redo it. So I did a little back stitching, backwards stitching on that one. So that's where we are on Quaker Christmas 2. And no, you're not mistaken. If you're thinking it, I'll go ahead and tell you, yes, it's the second time I've worked on it this month. I just love it. Okay, so now I have something to share with you. I had mentioned for Stitch Mania that I was going to work 2 days on each of my current whips and that I had 8. But my plan was to have a new start, and that is a gift for a friend of mine for Christmas. And this is the new start. This is St. Nick's Toys. And this is really, really cute Sue Hill's design. And I'm sure you know why I'm doing it, because it has that little rag doll right there in it. So it's for my friend Cheryl. And I wanted it to be a whip by the time we got to Stitch Mania. So this morning I went ahead and I started. So I've got St. Nick's in there in the tricolor variegation. It has like an ombre effect there. Really like that. And it's moving along pretty quickly. This is a 28 count linen. It's doubloon. And it was just a piece I had in my stash. So that's what I decided to do it on. I felt like that looked pretty close to the background, but I like the variegated look to it, the mottled look. And if you'll notice, this little pattern has a charm. It has a little trumpet that the rag doll is actually holding that you attach at the end. So now that's started. It's kitted up, it's started, it's ready to go. So I'm hoping in the next couple of days here I can get all of my whips out, bring them out and show you where they are. Probably will do that the last day of the month and make my Maynia video for you, tack it on here. So I hope you're having a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hello everyone. Today is Friday the 27th of April, and this is my Maynia lineup. As I had told you earlier in my videos, this year I decided to do a Stitch Mania that would help me further my goals this year. My goals are to get a lot of progress on my whips and to try to get a couple of finishes this year on some fairly large projects. So I decided, since I'm only going to give 2 days at the most to each whip, I would take them in the order in which I started them. That way I would work on the oldest one first, or at least mostly first. I did have one switch up in the order, and that's because I want to work on Sleeping Beauty on her anniversary, which is the 12th of May, since I started her with Kate, Cowgirl Kate Paints Aplenty, back in Maynia 2016. So let me just give you my lineup, and what I thought I would do is remind you of each whip and show you where I am today. And then as I go through the week of Maynia, then I can vlog and show you where I'm getting to. So the first one that I want to work on is Ashley's Roses. This was started on July 1st of 2017. And I'll just remind you of where I was on my last update. Working on those swags of pink roses across the top. I don't know how much I'll get done in just 2 days' time, but the good news is I'll be fresh. It'll be at the first of the month, so maybe that one will go well. You never know. The second one that I want to work on is Nantucket Rose, and I'll remind you of what she looks like. There you go. And Nantucket Rose I worked on this month, and so I'll remind you of where I left off with her. So hopefully I can continue to work a little bit down and a little bit across to try to keep that piece flowing as well. I started Nantucket Rose August the 1st, 2017, and I started it as a sale with several other people. In fact, there is an event on Facebook that you can find. It's the Nantucket Rose Sale if you want to join the group. All right, my third whip that I'll be working on is Into the Autumn Sky. This is an out of print pattern, and this was one that I was gifted by a viewer, and with the only caveat is that I have to pass the stash when I'm through with it, which I certainly intend to do. I started this Mirabilia on September 22nd of 2017, and I started it on a very old piece of even weave, so old that it still has tape on it. I haven't done that for years, but that just tells you how long I had it in my stash. And that is the skirt and her feet and her little pinafore flapping out the back. So we will continue from that point on and see what 2 days will give us on that one, Into the Autumn Sky. So the next whip that I'll be working on in Maynia is Flowers of the Holy Night. And it so happens to be, this is the one I'm working on in my just rotation. This is what it will look like. And this is done in silk. It is luscious. There are a lot of beads in this. So there'll be a lot of beading once it's over. But this is still on my Q-snap, so I just loosened a couple of the edges because I even have my needles still threaded and in here because I actually stitched on it last night until I went to bed at 11. But this is where I am, and this is a new update for you. Last you saw it, I had stopped right here. So these pieces I did yesterday. But this is where I am on Flowers of the Holy Night. So that's where I'll be starting from, or at least pretty close to that, because I will stitch on it, I hope, a little bit today. This reminds me of when I used to do my update and have everything around me to show you everything at one time and how long it takes to set that up. I really like doing it when I finish it. Pardon me. It makes it so much easier. I forgot to tell you, I started this December the 10th, 2017. So that's where I've gotten to so far. All right, this is my difficult piece. This is my Teresa Wentzler. This is the Nativity. You can see just how detailed that is, and you all know her propensity to use the blended threads. And I started this in October 2016, so it's quite an older whip, but I had to make myself work on it a lot, and I'm still not happy with the faces. So I've made determination. I'm gonna frog out just the backstitch outline pieces of it because I just think they're too light. You can hardly see them. You can see them much better on camera than I can see them to the naked eye. But I'm thinking I need to do something to make those look a little better. I think what I may do is try a darker color on Mary's face. And if it shows up a lot better and I like it better, then I'll go to the effort to undo the others and see, you know, just what we can do. The angel shows up pretty well. Joseph not so well. But anyway, I've said this I think every time I brought it out. But this is where I am on this piece. This is on a real thin linen. It's a beautiful pale green, but it is 32 count or smaller. I'm not sure. It is tiny. And so it makes it really hard to do all of these fractional stitches on these little tiny weave. But that's where I will pick up from that. And this is one of the two whips that I have slated for only one day. And I think that's partly because I'm having a hard time stitching it, because it's difficult and I don't want to get frustrated with it. Then that should bring me up to the 12th of May in the counting 2 days per each, except for the 1 day for the Nativity. And on the 12th of May, as I mentioned, my anniversary piece will be Sleeping Beauty, another Mirabilia. I have quite a few Mirabilias going on, don't I? Tend to like those. And here is where we left off. I showed you this at my last update. I have not worked on her again, I don't think, since then. So I'm hoping you can see her. I can't see what you're seeing, so I'm hoping that's in the frame. Pretty much, yes. Okay. So that's where I will pick up with her. And since I only have the 2 days to work, I don't know what I'm going to work on. I don't know whether I'm going to continue working this green in here or whether I'll come over here and work on something that's a little easier to see progress on. But either way, I'll be making progress on Sleeping Beauty. As I mentioned, I started her on the 12th of May back in 2016. Now, here's one that's fairly new, and I won't show you the pattern simply because I've shown it to you recently, and you are all familiar with it, I think. But this is, sorry, there's my back, Quaker Christmas 2. This is on my new roller frame, and this is where I left off. So I'll be picking up right here, right in here, starting and going across here, and then I would be due to start down here. I'm hoping to get at least this part done. That's an easy goal. I think I could make in a couple of days. So that is going to be my next whip. I started that in October of 2017. So it's going really well. And as you know, it's my journey piece with my guild, and I had a goal to do at least half of it, and it's going so quickly. I've amended that goal personally, and I would like to do at least 3/4 of it this year. Pardon me as I reach over here. Sorry to have to go off camera, but I had so many, it kind of got spread out a little bit. The next whip that I would be working on is the Snowman by Mill Hill. It's a Jim Shore design. And this is where we left off at the last update. I had finished the cross-stitching part of the Snowman. So that's where I got there. Okay. Started that in December of 2017. Then we get a little more current. January 1st of 2018. This was my New Year, New Start, and it was for a Halloween sale. And this is called Halloween Tricks. It is a cover, or was a cover, of the Saturday Evening Post. And I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is how far I had gotten on it. All the way across the front. So I will start working on the fence underneath those cats. That's the next logical place to go. Okay, and then my most recent whip was a brand new start, and hopefully you saw a little snippet about that just before you watch this piece. But this is going to be a Christmas present for my friend Cheryl, who has the Raggedy Ann and Andy business. And this is called St. Nick's Toys. And I just think it's precious, absolutely precious. I had some linen in my stash some doubloon linen, 32 count, and I just picked it right up. And this is how far I got for my start. I worked on it yesterday. I wanted it to be a whip rather than a new start in Maynia. I had mentioned that I might have one new start and this was going to be it. But I decided to go ahead and start it so it would be easier just to pick it up and go with it rather than having to calculate and count and measure and all that and waste that time, during Maynia that I could be stitching when I didn't have but 2 days. So that's where I am for that. It's vibrant and beautiful and it's not hard. So it's going to be a wonderful stitch, and I had a hard time putting it down yesterday. So there you have it. So that's my Maynia. I have, if you were counting, thought I was going to have 9 whips and then a potential new start. So I was going to give every whip 2 days. When I went ahead and started the St. Nick's Toys, it rounded me out to 10 whips, which doesn't calculate 2 days each into 18 days. So there will be 2 items that will only go 1 day. I already know that one of them is going to be the Nativity, and it could be at the end that I just do the 1 day on the new start, which would seem fair to only give it 1 day. So there you have it. That's my Maynia. I know it may not seem manic to some of you, and I think that's sort of the purpose of Maynia, is to do something that's a little more manic than what you normally do. But for me to work on 10 whips in 18 days is pretty manic for me. I used to work an entire week or 5 days on everything because I kept my numbers low enough to do that. And then I got to where I did 4 days because I increased my whips, and then I had to go to 3. And I found out I really like the 3 days the best. I get enough work to see a little progress and to have spent some time with that whip. But in a month's time, I can touch everything I have, and I have enough variety that I really enjoy going from piece to piece. And then I do that until I get close to a finish. And when I think I could finish something in the time I have left that month, I tend to go monogamous on that piece until it's done. So that's just kind of how I've fallen into it. When I work on something in the month, it's very flexible. I get up just like many of you do, and I look at what's left for the month, what I haven't touched yet, and what is calling to me out of that group. So as long as I keep moving through my whips and touch everything, pretty much everything every month, there've been a couple of months where I just got really into a piece and I wanted to work on it an extra day or two, and by the end of the month I didn't have time for one of my whips, and so I always would do it first the next month. So on a rotating basis though, I try to touch everything every month, and I just enjoy that. It keeps me interested. It keeps my stitchy bug going because I have something new to work on every 3 days. And if I didn't get a lot of stitching time on something, I may add a day. It's very fluid, it's very flexible, it's just sort of a framework that I work within. So some of you who are wondering, do you want a rotation or not? This, to me, is not such a strict rotation, it's more of a plan. It's just a guideline to help me move through all of my whips. So I have a process I go through, but what I work on when is totally up to me unless I've paired it with a Sal, and I do that at the very first of the month. So it's been a fun time. It's fluid, it changes every month, and I think that helps keep me interested. So for me, doing 18 days straight on 10 different projects is a little different because I'm only getting 2 days on each one. I don't usually go that short of a period of time. So that's a little manic for me, switching, quite so quickly. I think that'll work for me. It helps me reach my goals and lets me participate with you guys. And I'm looking forward to that. Enjoying seeing all of your Maynia plans. And I hope you've enjoyed sharing mine with me. I'll talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everyone. And let's have a great Maynia. Bye. Hello, everyone. This is Dina, and welcome to my book review. I haven't done one in a while because I haven't read in a while, but I had an occasion to take a trip with my husband recently. One of my cousins passed away, and we went to her funeral. And I will say it was a wonderful celebration of her life, and I was able to make connections with a lot of family and friends from many years ago, and enjoyed that part of it quite a bit. So on the trip, I wanted to be able to help my husband drive if need be, and I didn't want to be cross-stitching in the road, so I took a book. And as we were leaving, I looked at my bookshelf to pick something, and this name jumped out at me. This is Karin Slaughter, and this book is entitled Broken. And if you've watched my videos for very long, you may have seen a book review by Karin Slaughter, and the name of that book was Unseen. As it turned out, Broken was written first, and it actually introduced a lot of the characters that appeared in the book Unseen. So they were familiar to me, but I was seeing them at an earlier point in their life, so that was pretty interesting. To give you an idea, it is a murder mystery, and there is a murder that the detective finds herself trying to solve. The detective's name is Lena, and she's trying to solve this murder. And it's in a very small town about 2 hours from Macon. It's a fictitious town, and it's supposed to be a lake community. And this is a college co-ed that is found murdered. And the murderer tried to make it look like a suicide, but it didn't take long before that was discovered to be false. During the course of investigating, the detective Lena winds up going to this young woman's apartment, a little garage apartment she was renting in town, to do some investigating of her home to see if there were any clues there. And when they arrived, there was someone with a ski mask on rummaging in this apartment, and they wound up trying to apprehend this individual, and it just went all awry. And one of the police officers was wounded. In fact, all three of them were. This gentleman was apprehended and was taken to the police station and confessed to the murder, wrote out his confession, and so Lena put him in the jail cell and then headed off to the hospital because one of the police officers that was in on this arrest had been hurt pretty badly, and she was going to go check on him. In the time that she was gone, this person in the jail killed himself. And so because there was a death while in custody, this necessitates an investigation by the GBI. And as it turned out, a local physician who used to be in this town was home for vacation for the Thanksgiving holidays with her family. And she's not a stranger to this police force because her ex-husband, or former husband, was the police chief until he was killed in the line of duty. And it hasn't been that many years ago that happened. So this is the first time that she's been back in her hometown, and she's not looking forward to the memories and how hard it's going to be for her. And here she gets pulled in to this murder mystery because someone needed to do an autopsy and their physician wasn't available. He was on vacation and not reachable. So enter Dr. Sarah Linton. And Dr. Sarah Linton is a character that's also in the previous book that I reported on, Unseen. And she and the police detective Lena are not on good terms because Lena was Sarah's husband's partner when he was killed, and she blames Lena for his death. So because there's an investigation that needs to take place about the death of the prisoner, a GBI agent enters the scene, And he realizes early on that he's not just there investigating this death. He really is investigating the police department and the potential for covering evidence or obstructing justice and all sorts of things that he's quite sure are going on because of how much difficulty they're having solving this murder case. In the end, as it turns out, this GBI agent, Will Trent, really shines in this book. You get to really meet his character. You learn a little bit about his childhood, and you learn a lot about his experience, but mostly his skill. I know in the latter book, Unseen, it's hinted at a few times, or it's highlighted here and there, but in this book, Broken, it really is the focus to me, is how clever he is in putting the pieces together and what wonderful interview techniques he uses to get information that people don't realize he's getting. And I enjoyed that part of the book. It was a big puzzle to put together. There were enough characters to make it interesting, not so many that you got lost. And it was a double investigation. There's a murder investigation going on, and then there's a police department investigation going on, and they're very intertwined and actually wind up being solved together. I would recommend the book. If you like murder mysteries at all, this is a really good one. It keeps you going, it keeps you riveted. The story never drags. I actually felt like there was not much information in the book that wasn't pertinent to the actual resolution of the story. So, not a lot of side stories, not a lot of rabbit trails or red herrings, nothing to kind of throw you off so much as you just realizing there's more here than I'm aware of yet, and you learn about the same time that Will does, so you don't get too far ahead of him, which is kind of fun. You're learning it with him. I again would recommend the book. I think it's been a very interesting page turner here. Broken by Karin Slaughter. Give it a try if you like a good murder mystery. It's a good one. And I liked all the characters in the book, even the ones that you're meant to not like, I thought they played well with each other. So I hope you'll give it a chance and give it a read. Talk to you soon. Happy reading. Bye.